Hello, everybody. Welcome to our cruise Q&A. It has been another good week. I'm very happy to report we've got good news from me in the UK, and we've got Tony from Lido, Loca here today, and he has good news from the US. So I'm feeling happy. I have booked a cruise in the last couple of days, which is really exciting. And it looks like the US may be able to cruise, hopefully sometime soon. So I'm feeling good. Hope you guys are all feeling good too. Hello to everybody who is in the chat. We have got our usual people who are in here 2 hours early. I'm not sure what it is about the 2-hour thing, but thank you to Lou and Marcus, who are always in here super early, followed by Todd and Jeff in there too. I've seen, I believe my parents are in the chat as well, and loads of lovely comments. Looking forward to seeing Tony. Hudson may join us. He does like Tony, and Tony does like Hudson now. So we may get those two together, maybe. Okay, I'm just going to bring Tony straight up because I don't think there's any point in keeping him down there in his little box by himself. So welcome, Tony. Come back.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's going on? EmmaCruises from the UK.
What a exciting week. I've been booking cruises for ages.
Look, it's Hudson right there.
Hudson is right there. Yeah, I'm hoping to get the real one here.
Maybe I can hold him up. Okay, what's going on?
Well, the UK's gone a bit mad in the last couple of weeks.
How many cruise lines do you get to cruise on out of the UK? Well, not you personally. I know you got a little vaccination issue, but if you imagine you were 100 years old like me and you would be vaccinated very soon, how many cruise lines could you cruise on?
So if you have a vaccine and you're here in the UK and you have as much money as you like, you can cruise with P&O, Princess, Cunard, Royal Caribbean, Marella, Viking, MSC. I think almost everyone. We're probably going to see a Norwegian.
Disney?
Disney as well, yeah. The only one I think that's not coming is Carnival, to be honest, because they've decided they're going to stick with their own ports.
That's right.
Haven't they? But apart from that, it feels like Celebrity too. I forgot Celebrity. Almost every cruise line is doing something here in summer, which is exciting. So I have booked one. I'm not vaccinated yet, so that limits my choices to either Viking or MSC. And Viking sold out before it even went on public sale. So MSC is more out anyway. So I have booked an MSC cruise. I have spent today filming a video about that, so I will give everybody more details on that probably tomorrow. But it's nice to have something that actually may happen. I'm sure you feel the same.
I absolutely feel the same. And so, it's interesting, and I'm excited that there's communication and collaboration between folks in Europe and folks in the US. Emma, over this last year, I'm excited that I can just, message you and say, what's going on in the UK? And I can get the skinny. So it's very exciting. So yeah, at the same time, Royal Caribbean made the bold move to say, we're not waiting on US ports. We are going to cruise out of, the Caribbean. And so I had to do the exact same thing. I could not book a cruise out of the Caribbean. So I'm 71 days away from my cruise on Adventure of the Seas out of Nassau, Bahama. But I'm starting to think that there might be US cruises from US ports even before that. Maybe. I don't know. That might be a little too. I'm very optimistic today because I'm all fired up. But I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to feel very weird if all of a sudden I could cruise from the US before I take that cruise from Nassau. But I'll be excited either way. But I'm booked. You're booked. I'm booked. I'm excited. And you've been on MSC or you've not been on MSC? I know you've had mixed feelings, but you got mixed feelings about MSC, right? What are you feeling? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling good about MSC. So I've cruised on MSC 3 times. The last time I took a few first-time cruises on an MSC cruise. And it was really interesting for me to see their opinions on things because I know MSC sometimes get complaints about the food portions being small, about all the different languages and stuff on board. But taking first-time cruises on there, they thought everything was absolutely amazing and fantastic. Awesome. Didn't dare say to them, like, a lot of people don't like this food because they thought it was brilliant. And I love it. It's normally my kind of cheap go-to option for a cheap week where the prices of these cruises aren't that cheap because demand is high. Yeah. So it's not as cheap as I would normally pay, but I have paid £500 for 4 nights with gratuities and drinks, which I don't think is that bad. Cruising from Southampton, very, very easy. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think it will be good. I just want to say a quick thank you to Jackie, who has become a new member of my YouTube channel. I thought you already were, Jackie. Jackie, I don't know. Maybe you're on Patreon and now you're on YouTube too. But wherever you are, thank you very much. And I have a couple of super chats in here. Today I get to work and watch two awesome creators. Great Friday. That is good. If you can do this while you're in work time, I think that's fantastic. I love it when people send me pictures of them watching these live streams in all kinds of strange places. It just makes me laugh. And thank you to John for my super sticker. John is the king of my Patreons. And my goodness, we have another super chat in here from Kevin. Tony, are you some sort of super chat magnet? You've brought some super chat vibes in here. He wants to know, what is Tony's favorite karaoke song?
Man, so I love to sing karaoke, and I'm a little bit of a romantic. My lovely wife, Jenny B, is in the chat today. So what's up, honey bunny? But I love any song that I can sing to Jenny. Probably my favorite song to sing to Jenny, two of them. Billy Joel, She's Got a Way, and Garth Brooks, The Dance. And so I really like singing those songs to Jenny. But if I'm not singing to Jenny, I like songs that get people fired up. And so sometimes I'll sing a little country music, Garth Brooks, Friends in Low Places. That seems to get the crowd whipped up into a frenzy. And then if the crowd's a little more progressive, I might sing some Red Hot Chili Peppers, Under the Bridge.
Nice.
And so, I'm a music lover from way back from when I was a child, and I like all kinds of music. And so if it's singable, I'll give it a shot. I'm not always great at it, but I love it. I love karaoke on a cruise ship. I'm not really great at meeting people. I'm a little bit of a shy guy, but when there's that common interest, like you can go to karaoke a couple nights and then all of a sudden you start seeing those connections around the cruise ship. Hey, you were at karaoke. So to me, I like that on the cruise ship.
That's amazing. I like how you think about your karaoke. You can sing anything, but you think about what you want to do for their crowd. I think that's very nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing worse when you're performing. Like if you've ever public spoken anywhere or done any kind of performance, like there's nothing worse than half of the crowd just like ignoring you and talking over you. So to me, it's like I want everybody in it because I don't want to be discouraged by some loud conversation somewhere else.
Yeah. Read the room.
Yeah.
We have question from Shorty, who says, what do you think about the news from the CDC? I'll let you explain and take this one, Tony.
What news from the CDC? So I was trying to go to sleep last night around 12 a.m. here in the U.S. Eastern time, and I did. So you probably like this too, Emma. Every day you're checking Google for cruise news. Bada boom, bada bing. Sometimes I shouldn't do that before I go to bed because it will keep me up. So I find this article that chronicles a tweet from the mayor of Miami-Dade County here in Florida, that she said she had a conversation with the CDC. And I said, I didn't hear about this. What is this? And I go and I read the tweet. I read the official tweet, the official statement. And they're like, hey, check this out. We talked to the CDC today. They recognize that times have changed and they're going to give us some new cruise guidelines shortly. Now, back on the 22nd of February, they said they're going to give us some cruise news anytime now, some guidelines. That hasn't come. But it's a complicated world. Now, I'm not trying to plug my show, but I just want to let you know I spent most of the morning laying out the reasons why I think that announcement was different than ones that we'd heard before. So after this show is over, immediately you can watch my full commentary on that. That's exciting cruise news. And if it comes to fruition, if there's really – and I have to take a breath. Here's what happened. In the United States, we started our vaccination program in December. It has been ramping up. It took all the way to the middle of March before the CDC came out and said, we've been watching what's been going on with vaccination. We feel like that vaccinated people can now gather together socially in small groups. It took like 90 days. That's a big deal, but that was a big change for the United States. And I've said since that time that travel guidance would lag behind it, that the CDC will have something to say about travel and that it will lag behind it, and that guidance will affect the cruise restart. So that's some context. And then as I was getting prepped up to come hang out with you, there's an article on starting to pop around on the major medias that at some point today, the CDC is going to announce that fully vaccinated Americans can travel out of the country, foreign travel, with no testing requirements to return to the country. That's a huge thing. Like right now, if you leave the country and come back, you have to have a test to get back in the country. That's not true. So it's starting to look like the winds of change are blowing and that the CDC is coming out with guidance for travel that could be positive for cruising. and that has me quite excited. So I'm sorry to be so hyper about it, but I start to see a bunch of dominoes falling over, a bunch of convergence of things that suggest that we could be getting to a better position for travel. And that's what we all love to do, right? I mean, I know there's some naysayers out there that just love to be curmudgeons and stuff like that, but I'd say the majority of us that we just want to travel. And I feel like these are some good signals for travel from the US.
Well, I think we have waited for it for quite a long time. So be as excited as you want, because I'm very excited. I'm also trying not to get my heart broken again, because we all know how to have cruises cancelled where you've really planned it. So I'm trying to, you know, be a bit cautious, but I am very excited. Thank you to the Hobby Bird for your super chat, and thank you to Richard, who says, thanks for doing this live chat, guys. These live chats are the easiest thing for me to do, to just talk to a friend on the internet. Like, thank you for coming. We've got 583 people here, which is crazy.
Wow. Hit the like button hard and heavy right now. The YouTube robots love a little engagement early on in these live streams. Once the show's over, they don't tell anybody about it. So this is your opportunity to do something. Email your senator about the CDC and hit the like button right now. That's what I think.
I think out of all the live streams I've done, I think our one is the highest one. I think Don's one, we may have to try and fight.
Don't tell me Don beat me. I'm going to be
mad.
No,
he didn't beat you, I didn't think. But
is Don out there? He wished us a good show. I wonder if he texted me earlier. You out there, Don? We're going to get more views than you today. How about that?
Ooh. We have got so many questions. So the people in the chat, if you can do what Kevin has done here and you can write question in capital letters, it makes it so much easier for me to pick out the questions. So, Tony, when is your second vaccine shot? You had your first one.
I think it's 16 April or 14 April. I don't know. It was like 3 weeks. It's on a Friday. Not this Friday, not next Friday, the Friday after. So if this is 2, that's 9, 16. There we go. April 16th.
That's exciting.
And then 2 more weeks. I will meet the qualification of fully vaccinated, I guess, by the end of April. So that's exciting.
That is so good. I keep so here there's like online calculators that I'm not sure how true they are, but you can put in your age and it'll tell you when you're getting your vaccine. And I keep refreshing it like every couple of days to see where I am. I'm group 13 out of 13. Thanks to my age. Fair enough. But I keep seeing where that is. I think for me at the minute it's looking like maybe September, October to be completely vaccinated. And my first one will be 3 months before that. But I have to have both for all the cruises. So I'm planning on.
I don't know if it's like this in the UK, but like in the US, those projections keep speeding up. So do you anticipate that it could happen sooner?
Yeah, I think so. I do. That's why I keep refreshing it every couple of days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping so. I'm kind of planning on getting an MSC cruise done because I can cruise with MSC. And then when I am free to cruise with any cruise line, I think I'm going to do a little princess cruise, and I've got a couple of P&O cruises booked for the end of the year because I keep just pushing things forward. So when we actually can go, I am so ready to go.
I'm a little jealous of Gary Bembridge from Tips for Travelers. I did see him say that once it gets going, he plans to cruise a week, be home a week, cruise a week, be home a week, and sounds like he's going to Pokemon the thing. Like he's going to try all the lines, which is kind of exciting. He's got to collect them all, which that sounds pretty fun. It's very tempting once cruising starts in the US to see what kind of cruise velocity we can get going. But it ain't free. So I mean, if it was free, that would be easier.
Exactly. If I could do that, I absolutely would. So I would have thought Gary's already collected most of the cruise lines, hasn't he, by now?
Probably, but not in the new paradigm. So maybe that's right.
Does it reset after all of this stuff? You start again.
Yeah, I know you don't follow Marvel. We've had this conversation, but one of the biggest events in the Marvel universe was called the Blip, where a bunch of people disappeared. Yeah. So you know what the blip is. So this is kind of like the blip for cruising, like the time, when time stood still. So yeah, this will be like a post-blip cruising thing, which will be exciting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I just know about that from Spider-Man. I'm quite happy to watch the Spider-Man films, but
Spidey right above my head there, wherever my head is. Whoa.
Yes. Wesley says, when is your next scheduled cruise? So tell us a bit about your plan.
So my next scheduled cruise, 71 days on the adventure of the seas. I'm going on this one alone, purely as an adventurer, as an expeditioner, to go out and document what the what is for everybody. But yeah, I'll be flying from excuse me, I'll be flying from Tampa to Charlotte. So I'll be flying north to go south. Tampa to Charlotte to Nassau, Bahamas. That's going to be on the 11th of June. I'll board the Adventures of the Sea on the 12th. It's a Western Caribbean cruise. We'll go to Grand Bahama, which is Freeport. We'll go to Cozumel, and then there'll be 2 days at Coco Cay or Key. We can fight about that if you guys want to.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so it's, you know, it's not a lot of adventuring really. And I really think that the cruise restart for the US will involve places that are very accepting of cruisers. The Bahamas, certainly that way, St. Martin, Bermuda, and I think it will involve a lot of private islands. So the U.S. cruise, you know, we're at a disadvantage here in the U.S. because of the laws. We can't just cruise to nowhere. We can't do a staycation, cruise around the Isles, anything like that. If you want to cruise out of the United States, you have to go to a foreign land. A lot of people say, well, you know, why can we go to all these other things in the United States? There's two really big reasons. First of all, like theme parks versus cruising, they're two different decision makers. So somebody in the state of Florida said you can go to Disney World, but the CDC are the people that are saying you can cruise or not cruise. And then unlike going to the theater, to the bar, to the restaurant, going on an airplane, every time you get on a cruise ship, there is a requirement for US citizens to go to a foreign country. And I think that adds a level of complexity. But yeah, so that's my first cruise. In 72 days, I will be going down to Nassau, Bahamas to get on the Adventure of the Seas to do a 7-day Western Caribbean cruise. And I'm excited. I don't normally get off the ship and stuff, but I've got excursions booked. I'm going to jet ski and ATV, and I'm going to ride the hot air balloon at Coco Cay. And so, yeah, I'm stoked. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think you're going to be exhausted.
I will be exhausted.
I mean, for me, after this year, if I do something that would have been really normal a year ago, like I do an errand or something, I'm so tired. I went for a drive. Like everything is just way more exciting now. So I can't. It's going to be exhausting. It's going to be really fun, but I can't. I went to one restaurant last summer, one time in the last year. I've been out to eat once. So to sit in like on my MSC cruise, just to sit in whatever they bring me, like, I'm going to be so happy with it. So I'm really looking forward to that.
The same for us. So like we've been, you know, we were very fortunate. We lived in Charlotte, North Carolina. We lived in a small apartment, and you know, everything lined up to where we didn't have to work our 9-to-5 jobs anymore. We could be full-time content creators. I know I saw that you were struggling with what you want to call yourself now that you are doing something different. Call myself a cruise tuber for a while. So like it all converged where that was true for me. That was true for the lovely Jenny. And so we came down here, we moved to this city in Florida. It's where Jenny's mom lives. So we moved for family, but now we are strategically positioned around 5 cruise ports, right? I think the farthest we have to drive would be 6 hours to Miami, but I can get to the port of Tampa in 45 minutes. So it's very close. And but we're very lucky. So we, this place is bigger than the place we rented here is bigger than our apartment. And it's been a great place to be stuck for a year. But we've been very cautious. Yeah, we have a pool. We've been very cautious. We haven't gone out. And the only time we went out to eat is we did do a road trip to see some of our kids earlier in the year. And we went out to a restaurant, and it was the weirdest thing. So to pile on to what you're saying, yes, anytime that I have to go do anything other than work inside this house, it all feels like an effort. Yeah. So I've started to try to my walking. I've tried to, really start to be more active because I know that once I hit the cruise ship, it's going to be tiring, but I'm excited for it. I'm going to be exhausted when I come back, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I think all of our senses have been so just changed over the last year. I hope no one will take anything for granted ever again. I think we'll just love it. We have a question that's about cookies, which my eyes were drawn to in the chat. What is your favorite cookie? Chocolate chip oatmeal or something else?
So my grandma used to make homemade chocolate chip cookies for Christmas, and she would give them all to us in these tins. I'm one of like 40 grandchildren, and Grandma knew what every one of our favorite candies were, and so she would make. There were always these chocolate chip cookies. So from a sensory memory, when you ask me that question, I go to that chocolate chip cookie. But I do love like a chocolate macadamia nut cookie, like a white chocolate macadamia nut. And then I don't guess. Do you guys? I guess Girl Scouts is a U.S. thing. Do you know about Girl Scout cookies?
They don't sell cookies here, but
yeah. So there's a coconut, almost like a coconut macaroon with chocolate on it, called a Samoa. I get that. That's a really good cookie. So yes, off the top of my head, my grandma's chocolate chip cookies, Subway's white chocolate macadamia nut, and then Girl Scout Samoa, probably my favorite cookies.
That sounds good. I like the Subway cookies. I have to say, I'm not a fan of coconut. So for the last year, every time I've got like a selection box of chocolates, I know my dad really likes coconut, so I put in a little bag for him, and I saw him for the first time in ages, and I handed him a bag of like the coconut ones from all of these boxes of chocolates that I don't really like. So he loved it. But
that's a great daughter. Always come bearing gifts. If you're a child out there, when you go see your parents, bring gifts.
They bring me more gifts than I give them. They get the ones I don't like out of the box. But yeah, we bought me a chocolate Easter bunny, so that was nice. So
it is Easter weekend. Happy Easter, everybody who's celebrating.
Easter, yes. I almost forget because normally it would be a long weekend off work. So whereas I'm my own boss for the last 3 weeks now, so nothing really changes.
There are no days off. So welcome to this reality. Emma. There are no days off from work anymore, and it's okay. That's the thing that it took me a while. Like you have to remind yourself to rest, but you can work whenever you want, whenever the urge hits you, which is nice.
Yeah, it's my dad with a smiley face in there.
There you go.
Got both my parents in the chat. Don was in the chat as well. Somewhere.
What's up, Don? We're getting more views than you this week. How about that?
If he's still here or if he has gone. So many comments about cookies in the chat. My goodness. Pepsi o'clock, says Billy. I'm getting this done, and then I'm straight onto my daily Pepsi. It was my New Year's resolution to cut down to 1 Pepsi a day.
Oh, and nice.
It's going all right, but I find any excuse to have another one. I'm like, well, this is a takeaway, so the takeaway Pepsi, or I'm watching a movie as a movie Pepsi. But you know what it is. Not
the official daily Pepsi.
I love this comment. Emma, you look amazing. Tony looks like Tony, so that's good.
I'm going to take, that's good. I spend a lot of time trying to look like Tony, so I feel pretty good about that. Now, most of the time I look better when when Jenny's, radiant beauty is shining on me. So this is what you get, people.
On these live streams. I was you on these streams, but she is very welcome to come along as well.
Oh, yes. It's interesting. When we go live, there's a lot to it. I'm sure she would come on. Jenny, Emma invited you. Where you at? Come on.
As long as she knows that and she doesn't think, Emma always just invites Tony. No, you're always welcome on here. Pepsi Max cookie, says John. Oh, John.
There you go.
And a cookie, I think.
I haven't had any caffeine today. I was so hyped up yesterday that I almost passed out after the live stream because I think I over caffeinated, and then so like today I'm trying to take it down a notch.
That sounds fair. It's just tea for me at the minute. We have got lots of questions that you're going to have to answer about the CDC ruling, and does that mean air travel in and out of the US is a go? Are you allowed to just leave at the minute? Because we can't really leave.
So I don't think that you can go everywhere. And I'll have to do some more research because literally this article that I saw came out about 11 o'clock. So just about an hour before we had the show. I know for sure that you can fly to places from the US. I don't know where. I think more of those countries are opening up. But for example, I know you can fly to Mexico because a lot of people went to all-inclusive resorts in Mexico. The rule that's been in place, I think, since late January is that if you travel internationally from the US and then return to the US, or any international traveler coming into the US, you have to have a negative COVID test prior to getting on the plane. And so if you traveled out of the US to Mexico, you would have to take a COVID test before you returned home. Many of the all-inclusive resorts were giving those tests. And so what I'm reading from this article that I've only briefly got to spend some time with is that if you're fully vaccinated, there won't be a testing requirement coming back into the US. Now, that doesn't mean you're exempt from whatever requirements are at the countries that you're visiting. For example, the Bahamas, they have a health visa. The health visa requires that you have a test to get in the Bahamas. And so, you know, while Royal Caribbean is not requiring a test for vaccinated people to get on the adventures of the seas, for me to get into the Bahamas, I'm going to have to get a test to get into the Bahamas. And so there's still going to be a lot of checking on where you're traveling to see what the regulations are for the countries that you're entering in. But it does sound like from this information that the CDC will say that if you're fully vaccinated and you travel internationally, you won't have to have a test to get back into the United States, which is good news.
Yeah, I don't even know. I find it really strange for me being here in the UK because I see America, it looks like just going about normal life. And then I see not being allowed to cruise, and it doesn't really seem like it makes as much sense. Whereas here, I understand I can't do anything. So when they say you can't cruise, I'm like, fair enough. But not long for us. May 17th, I think, we're supposed to be allowed to cruise again.
So the easiest way, and really not trying to get political, the easiest way to understand the way that the rules work in the United States is we have leadership at a lot of different levels. So you can think the highest level is the federal level, covers the whole country, but then there's also authority given at local level. So at the state level, at the city level. And so in the places where you see that there's a lot of open spots in the United States, those decisions are being made at the lower levels, at the state level, at the local level, while at the top level, the federal guidance is like, hey, don't open up yet. So there's a disconnect between the federal guidance and some of the state guidance. And so I think that's why if you're an outsider looking in, you can be like, well, why is all this stuff open, but other stuff isn't open? And it really does go back to who has the decision-making process. So for cruising, the decision-making process lives at that federal level, and the federal level is still staying a little close-fisted, like we're being overly cautious. But if you look at even like where some of the cruising goes out, like in Florida, at the local level, they're like, it's okay, let's open up. So it's a complicated mess sometimes in the U.S. with people on both sides yelling obscenities at each other. So it's pretty wild.
It's much more confusing than here. Here it's just you have one set of rules and everyone has to do it. I just see people on Instagram and things, and I'm like, that's now. It's just it's just tricky for me because nothing is open here, nothing at all.
Right.
Thank you to Jonesy, who says, absolutely love your voice. Sorry, Tony. That's that. Tony gets nice comments on your voice, don't you? Your channel, your smooth microphone.
I think I'm doing okay. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now look. I mean, I think you're doing what good. Can I say? I am constantly in this scenario where I'm the less best voice person in the conversation. So I know, look, every time I sit next to Jenny, of course, Jenny is prettier with a prettier voice. So I'm used to playing second fiddle. I'm just glad to be here. Okay. Okay, everybody. Can I just say that I'm glad to be? And I see Don down there saying that I texted him at 12:30 last night. Exciting. Yeah, I did. Good. Because I can text Don in Canada. How about that?
Yeah. Why not? Chris says Tony convinced Emma to go on the vlogger cruise.
Look,
Chris, if you want to
Emma's busy.
For me to go, then I will go 100%.
Emma's busy. Don's busy. They don't know. They're going to be traveling the world. Yeah. They might show up. How about that? They might show up.
Thanks.
How about that?
Yeah, if someone wants to start a GoFundMe, then please feel free, and then I'll.
How about that?
But yeah, I just can't commit that far in advance. I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't know. Thank you to Reds for your super chat. Thanks for the good news. It's so nice to have good news to bring for a change. I hated bringing, I mean, same for you. I'm sure you've had to break a lot of bad news. It's just not nice. Not nice.
No, so like it's a weird commitment, right? Like, so I committed that good or bad, I will try to tell the story of cruising on a daily basis in a way that hopefully it informs, entertains people. And and then to me, hope does spring eternal. Like I get knocked for that a lot because I'm very optimistic, but I do believe that you can choose to be, an optimist or a pessimist. And until something happens, it doesn't matter. It just is about how you feel about the thing. So I choose to be I choose to be optimistic for long periods of time and then disappointed when bad news comes, opposed to being pessimistic for a long period of time and then even more disappointed when bad news comes. So yeah, it's an interesting commitment to say like there's days, and Jenny could attest, that I will be like, man, I don't want to talk about this today because there's really not any rays of sunshine here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm committed to it. You know how it is. As somebody who wants to stay connected with people, we're just committed to bringing it forth, whatever it is, and hopefully we help pull people through it. I know it's really optimistic and idealistic, but that's the way I approach it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be much good if for example, you only broke good news or you only broke bad news. Like, we need to the full picture of everything. So, and I think you're optimistic, but you're not deluded with your optimism. You're a bit more optimistic than other people, but you have to be, because you're doing this every single day. And so you just give up, wouldn't you? I think, if you weren't optimistic. So.
Yeah, it could be soul crushing, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you're probably the same way. I have not stopped thinking about cruising on a daily basis for like 4 years, which there's nothing else in my life that I have contemplated and thought about every day for that period of time. So it's really weird, actually. Yeah,
no, mine's, I mean, I try not, as soon as I wake up, I go on my phone and it's cruising, and it's within 5 minutes of me waking up, and I need to get better at that. I need to not do that, but it literally is from bedtime until, every waking minute, especially at the minute, because it feels good. It feels nice to be in this space that's optimistic, and people are booking cruises. You must have had so many booked. The agent I work with, we've had so many UK cruises booked because everyone can. So it's just nice to talk about that rather than cancellations for a change.
100%. We've seen a lot of people very excited about like the Royal cruises that came out. People are still hopeful. Like, I mean, we have to remember, in the US, there's still major cruise companies that haven't canceled June, which seems crazy because June's not that far away. But, really, MSC, Royal, Carnival still have cruises booked for June. And again, like, I don't know if they knew something, I don't think it could break open that fast, but we do hear about crew members returning to cruise ships. We've had a lot of ships in U.S. waters trying to prepare for some sort of cruise restart. So is it even feasible that mid-June, like if all of a sudden, say next week, the CDC goes, look, vaccination looks good, you can cruise in June, could cruise companies get ready? I think they would make their best case effort to get, 1 or 2 cruises going. So it's going to be an interesting next couple months, I really think. And, I'm not counting out that there couldn't be a big cancellation day for June, which is always depressing. But at the same time, a lot of positive things are moving forward too. Yeah,
for me, it's one thing saying, will cruises happen in June from this place? And then it's saying, will the scheduled ones that people booked a year or 2 ago with that itinerary on that ship actually happen? I think that's a very different question. So, I mean, I booked British Isles and it was cancelled to be replaced by British Isles just because, like, you know what I mean? They're not sticking to the same itineraries, at least here. They're doing shorter ones and ones with less ports. So I could see them cancelling June, and maybe the cruise lines, each one will have a couple of ships, but it will be private islands and stuff like that. Then who knows what people have booked at the minute.
That's always my caution when we get the green light that the cruise restart is happening. It will be slow. I think there'll still be cancellations. It won't look like what we think it's going to look like. And so, and to your point, the greatest question that most people ask is, when the cruise that I have booked, when will it not be canceled? Because that change will really have happened when that's the case. And maybe that's 2022. I don't know, but it's interesting to track along with, for sure.
Yeah, I'm thinking 2021, we're building things up, starting in summer with a couple of ships for each cruise line, and then adding them on and on and on. But I don't think it's not going to be an on-off switch where everything is normal and going as normal, because it's just such a huge job for the cruise lines to get back cruising. I don't think people understand how they can't just turn them on and off and stock the ship and get all the crew there, and it takes a lot of prep for them.
It's a massive operation. And the thing also that I'll take another second to caution people is that, in the beginning, governments, cruise lines, everybody's going to be overly cautious. Change doesn't happen overnight. And so you're going to see probably more protocols than may be needed or warranted in the beginning. You're just going to have to wait it out a little bit. I know people don't like to hear that message. And then at the same time, cruise lines are a business. And the way the capitalism works is that the business will charge the consumer as much money as they will pay to use their service. So in the beginning, when there is way more demand than supply, your cruise prices are going to be high. So it's going to be a while before we see this cruise lines competing to drive price down because all the inventory is online. So there's some real pain points, I believe, coming forth for people getting ready to restart cruising. And so you have to temper the optimism with the reality that things are going to cost more. There's going to be a lot of protocols, but it's necessary to get to the place where those things are different. And so that's sometimes going through the hard place is challenging to get to the better place. But I think we're getting ready to go from the no cruising to the hard place to eventually get to a better place.
I think it will be so worth it. And after we've had nothing for so long, anything that happens, I'm so excited by it. When here in the UK, P&O came out first. They were the first cruise line to say, we need everybody vaccinated for these cruises. And as a result, they're not letting any children on board because children aren't going to have their vaccines. And all over the internet, it went completely crazy on Twitter, everyone complaining on Twitter and Facebook and being very loud about never booking this again. And then they sold so many cruises that their website crashed in the morning when it launched. So the demand is there. I mean, Viking literally sold out before they even went on sale because they offer past cruises before they do the general public. So I don't think we need to worry about the demand being there, but that does mean that prices can be whatever they are, can't they?
Be expensive, yes.
Oh well, it'll be fine. See, what I've done is I've had a couple of cruises that were cancelled this year and I've pushed them to next year, and I've managed to keep the same price. So I did that with Royal Caribbean, I did that with Princess, and when I look at the prices for those cruises next year versus what I paid for this year, it's a seriously good way to get a cheaper cruise, just to book a cruise that will be cancelled and then shift it a year in advance. Of course, the prices might come down. I don't know what they're going to be like closer to next year, but it's genuine. It's like 50% extra above what I paid for the same thing, not more.
It's expensive, yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, I think. My goodness, we've got so many comments. Thank you so much to everybody who's leaving comments and super chats. Tony seems to attract these super chats, so thank you, Tony, for coming here for that. Thank you for all of your questions. How do I even know which ones to start with? There's so many. Okay, let's have a look at this one. This is an interesting one. I don't know where you stand on the crew vaccination thing, because a lot of cruise lines require passengers to be vaccinated, but their crew members will not be. It's a bit different here in the UK because you can't get a vaccine. It's given out in priority order, and someone who works on a cruise ship, that's not a priority. So it is what it is. But do you think it will take longer for cruises to start if all of the crew have to be vaccinated?
Yeah, so what we've seen, I think Saga was the first one that came out and said that passengers have to be vaccinated, but not necessarily crew members. It's an interesting conception because all the major cruise lines, so Norwegian, I saw something on a website saying that Norwegian is now saying that all their crew members have to be vaccinated before they start cruising. Of course, Royal Caribbean, Chris Wong vlogs, have you watched that channel? So he's saying that he has to be vaccinated. I think there is a big push to get crew members vaccinated. I'm hopeful at some point that once everybody who gets the vaccine, who wants the vaccine, that maybe that it will be, sold or distributed to companies where they can vaccinate their own people. And so I think at some point, it's a really weird thing. There's people out there that say, look, you choose the vaccine or not. I don't want to be mandated to take a vaccine to get on a cruise ship. The basic idea is that once you get vaccinated, you shouldn't get super sick from COVID. But the only risk is, and there's other good news coming out, and I'm waiting for more sources. But one of the things about the vaccine that they've been asking or wondering is, once you get vaccinated, can you still pass the virus from one person to another? The scientists, the health people have been hesitant to say up until this point that you cannot pass the virus. But there are some stories starting to come out now that all of this data has been accumulated that possibly the virus transmission is going down because of the vaccines also. So if there's a scenario where vaccinated people don't pass the virus to other people, then, I don't know, it's an ethical thing, right? Like if you're on a cruise ship and you're vaccinated and you could still pass the vaccine to a crew member who could get sick, that's a little bit of an uncomfortable position. That's why cruise lines would still require masks. So it's very complicated, but as the vaccine story gets better, and if it does come out, and again, I'm not saying that this is for certain. I have seen a couple articles that are starting to make this assertion, but if it does come out that vaccinated people don't pass the virus, then maybe that's a different situation. But I think most cruise lines will be working over the next few months to get their crew members vaccinated. They'll probably be pulling their vaccinated crew members first to fill up ships that are going to cruise first. And, you know, so like, you know, I think Saga is going to be the exception where they're saying we're just going to rely on our protocols until we can get people vaccinated. But I think at the end of the day, fully vaccinated, you know, Royals already said, like for the Israel cruise, for this cruise in the Bahamas, fully vaccinated crew, fully vaccinated passengers. I think that's the only way that the cruise restart is going to work.
Yeah, I think obviously if they can do that, that's the best. I just think with cruise lines like Saga, they can't. So they can't. It's either cruise without vaccinated crew or don't cruise. So
they run a risk. So if you go on that first Saga cruise and all of a sudden, even though the crew members are young and they shouldn't be as susceptible to the virus, if all of a sudden you get crew members are sick when passengers aren't sick, then that's going to be a big problem. I mean, it's going to be a big problem in the media. And so it's risky, I think, to be in a position, you know, I really think the cruise restart really only has a couple shots at this. And if all of a sudden, you know, cruising happens and it's you know, and you have, like, I don't think I watched I was talking to you about it before the show. The Last Cruise is a documentary that chronicles what happened on the Diamond Princess. I talked about it on the show a little bit yesterday. You can't have that again because, you know, I don't think you would have that again. We know a lot more about the disease than everybody on that cruise ship did. But if you have another event that turns out that tragically, cruising would have a hard time coming back. So the cruise restart is very delicate. It has to happen correctly. And if you end up with a scenario where you accepted a bunch of vaccinated passengers and your crew gets sick, that's going to be a really bad news story.
Yeah.
Really, really bad.
Really bad. It makes me very happy that MSC are just saying, we want to be the first. We're just going to do this. We've been practicing it. They're very confident in that. And I'm like, I trust them a lot. I trust them more than general life out and about here. So,
you know, MSC has been doing it well. They've been doing it without vaccination. But the one thing that you're not going to lose on an MSC ship is that masking component. So that's a whole nother contentious debate. Do you want cruising the way it was, or do you want cruising with protocols? And so, you know, and I kind of believe that vaccinated cruising will get us close to cruising the way that it was. And so, you know, on these cruises where like MSC, I don't think you're going to get away from the masking protocol. I don't think anybody's getting away from the masking protocol early on in cruising until they prove that it's safe. But if you continue to have cruise lines that don't require the vaccine, I think you're going to have masking for a long period of time. And I know people hate masking as much as they hate being forced to do anything, at least in the US. But I don't know, like, it's not a big deal. I'm used to wearing the mask, but not everybody's down with it.
I've got to be honest, I quite like it. I think it's because it's been winter here and it's been cold and just warm on the face. It just makes me feel sleepy. I wouldn't mind. It would be quite nice if everybody, when they got sick, just wore a mask as they do in other countries. If you've got a cold or something like that, I would appreciate that. That would be nice.
That's one of my biggest memories from when I traveled to Asia was, you know, like, so in Shanghai, there's a high pollution volume. And so I think a lot of people mask up in China for pollution. But then in Japan, I do think it's exactly what you're saying, that people wear a mask when they're sick so they don't spread their junk around.
I think that's very nice. And when you've got a cold and your nose is all red and you feel gross, just being able to put on a mask would be quite nice, I think. So if that carries on, that suits me fine. Danny has a question about how did you come up with your channel name?
Lido Loca. So basically, we went on our first cruise and we had some idea that we wanted to make a YouTube channel, to make a cruising community. And we had this, so like my favorite number is 22, and we knew that we would be traveling. So we came up with this idea, 22 postcards. And that was going to be the channel name. That's almost what this was called. And then we went on our first cruise, and I did not know the term Lido deck. Like, I did not know. And Carnival does a really good job of making the Lido something important. You know, you can go get your guys burgers at the Lido. That's where all the events happen, the pool, the Lido deck. And so I really like this idea of Lido. And so when we got home, we were like, 22 postcards, I don't really think that's it. And so at some point we were trying to put on our marketing hats. We were doing brainstorming, and it's like, we want to use Lido. And then so La Lido Loca sounds like La Vida Loca. So in my mind, I'm like, that's marketing genius. Like, that's a connection point. People will read that and they'll be like, wow, it's like the Ricky Martin song. So now I'll remember that. The only problem I have with the name La Lido Loca is it doesn't really suggest cruising other than the word Lido. And then as we explored other cruise lines, a lot of other cruise lines don't use Lido in the same way that, say, Carnival does. So, if I could do it over, I would probably do something with travel or cruises in the name or something like that. But it's been a little bit of a journey to build Lido Loca as a brand. But now I think it does have its place in the cruise space, and maybe it's not the most searchable name, but there's some connection points to it. So that's kind of the story.
I like it. It's just every time I type it, I don't type Lido. I don't know if it's my phone or if it's me, but and then I'm like, oh no, Tony's going to see this.
The problem is not everybody can say it, and then it's hard to search through, like if you're on your Apple TV and you hold down the microphone and say search for Lido Loca, it doesn't really pick that up that often. So we didn't make it as search friendly as you would want it to be for people that are like, oh, I remember those people, Lido Loca. How do I find them? And so it's hard to spell, hard to say. And even like when you hear other people try to say it that aren't used to saying it, it's like, okay. But
I bet you get a lot of people who search Tony Cruise news or anything like that.
I throw all kinds of tags and keywords in our stuff. Jenny Lido Loca, Jenny Cruise News, Tony Cruise News, Tony, just anything that will help that search algorithm. I do that.
Thank you, Julie, for my super chats. To Hudson from Pippa the Kitty. Hudson has not shown himself today, and he normally likes Tony, so I'm sorry about that.
Hudson, where are you at? Let me see if I can point at him again.
Yeah,
screen.
I don't know. He was here. He was asleep on this chair, and maybe me sitting almost on him kind of put him off, and he left. But he's not here at the minute. Do you have how do I pronounce this username? This is one thing that I really struggle with about live streams, because I'm like, is this Pebmets? Sorry if that is wrong.
Pebmets.
Thank you for that. Sometimes people have usernames that's like I don't know, chicken 12764 asterisk _ and I'm like, I don't really have to say this. But thank you very much for your super chat and enjoying both of our channels. Continued success. I hope so, and I hope I think things are going up now. It feels like being at the bottom of something that's rising. So fingers crossed everything goes well for all of us. I mean, my channel went mad the last month, absolutely crazy, like Tony kind of numbers on my channel for river cruising of all things, even though I don't really see any reason why, but it's all been good fun. So I think I've got quite a few new people in here from that. Yes, Pebmets is right. Perfect. Thank you so much. I'm always worried I'm going to say someone's name embarrassingly wrong. I'm not good at it. So thank you.
And if you're visiting Emma's channel for the first time, it takes little to zero effort to hit the subscribe button. Emma puts out content multiple times a week. She has a live stream every Friday. Make sure that you subscribe. Fill up that feed with cruising subscriptions so that we can bring that cruise life back strong once it goes. And to your point, the worm has turned. Like you never know what's going to blow up on YouTube, right? And so it's very exciting that your river cruise thing from a year ago? Was it a year ago or longer?
I think it was longer. I think it's about 18, 19 months ago.
There's definitely something going on right now where more people are coming back. Like you could see the people go away last year, and now you can see the people coming back. And so it's a very exciting time for folks like us who make content around cruising. Yeah,
it did get very bleak at certain points, I think, when there was no end in sight at all. And it was very depressing for a while. So I'm very happy with it at the minute. I've added so many moderators to my chat now, so thank you so much to everyone who is looking after the chat for me, because having that good month has brought a lot more mean people than I've ever had on my channel.
Mean people, yes.
With all the best, all my channel members are in here as my moderators, and they're looking after everything. So thank you so much to you guys. I see you all in here. A question for you.
Somebody needs to block this guy. I just want to say that.
What?
Retro Sarge, it's bad news.
I don't know who that is.
My brother. It's my brother.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well.
Do you know what Galaga is?
I don't know what that means.
Tony, who is the best Galaga player you know? Love your channel. Love your channel, Emma. So look, back in the 80s, they came out with these little things called coin-operated video games. the 1980s. Your parents know about what that is, Emma.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the premier video games that we used to go to this little place that had a Pac-Man machine and a Galaga machine, and our parents would give us quarters to play with each other. And it just so happens that the last time my brother and I officially competed at Galaga, he beat me. Now, I don't know what the lifetime record of that is, but yes, I bow down. I give homage to my wonderful brother, Christopher Barnett, Retro Sarge, that you are the best Galaga player for now.
Okay,
How
that's
about
good.
that?
I'm happy with that one. I didn't know if that was something terrible or this guy was genuinely a terrible guy, but
he's an awesome guy.
Thank you. Thank you to Chuck, who has given me some treat money for Hudson to show up next time. I haven't got any dreamies for him at the minute, which is probably why he's not here, and I need to get some, so I will put that in the Hudson Dreamy Fund, and I promise I will get him some. Lots of people like this game, so I'm feeling edge. Why do I just get stuck on certain words sometimes? You only really overthink something. Educated. There we go. Educated.
The reality is, so my mom, what am I, 50 this year? My mom will be 70 this year. She's actually the best. She's the best Galaga player in our family. So my mom could play Galaga. She beat us regularly. So shout out to my mom. She's not in here, but yeah, she shows up to the live stream sometimes, but she's really the best Galaga player.
Oh, my parents are very good at coming to my live streams. I tell them that they don't have to, because I video chat them all the time and they see me in real life. They don't have to watch me talk on the internet, but they always come here, and my granddad comes in here too. My niece sometimes comes in here. It's her 10th birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday.
I don't think she'll be in here today because, other things to do when you're 10. But yeah, it's nice to see. It's nice to see all these names I recognize in here. Thank you for my super chat. Been living my cruise life through your videos. Yeah, I've been living my own cruise life through my own videos and through everybody else's recently.
It's interesting. So we've been going back and watching our old cruise vlogs and doing like a commentary series. And I used to say that one of the best ways to fight the cruise blues in between cruises was to make cruise content and to watch cruise content. But I tell you what, doing these commentaries have been so emotional. Like, I don't know if it's helping my cruise blues or if it's exacerbating my cruise blues, but it's amazing. It is amazing that after you do this year after year, how much content you have out there. And it is really wild to go back and watch a cruise from a few years ago and just,
that's like me with all the river cruise things. It was just nice I watched every video I made on that and I put together something new, and it was like, oh, it really was a good week. I haven't thought about that in a while. My dad says that we come for the guests, so here for you, not for me. And my mum also says she doesn't know what that game is, so I don't feel I don't know what that is. If my mum doesn't know, then that's okay.
Well, parents of Emma, I just want to say you've raised a wonderful daughter. As a father of a daughter of about the same age, I know you guys are proud of her, because we're very proud of our kids of that age, and it's great to see Emma's success. So let me dote on your parents and on you at the same time, Emma. Super impressed with what you've done in the last year, and congratulations to your parents at the same time. So it's a great story.
Thank you, Tony. I don't know if I would have, if I didn't have you to message and ask all these questions to and stuff over the last couple of years. Who knows where I would be, but not in the same place. It's nice to have someone to share kind of funny comments and things with.
It really is good. Between you and Don, you guys are really my sounding board for YouTube, and it's awesome. I mean, the knowledge that you bring, the knowledge that Don brings, we're really it's same. So nice. I know that I've grown over this last year through our conversation, so it's exciting.
That's good, thank you. We have a question from Rachel, which is another CDC one about you. Did the press conference pressuring the CDC help?
I don't know. So watch my show at 1 o'clock. There's some politics going on. I don't want to turn this into a big plot. I don't really like U.S. politics. I think it's more divisive than it needs to be. I don't like any system that sets up where you got to have an enemy. I feel like that's what U.S. politics is today. But oddly enough, the governor of Florida is a part of one political party, and the mayor that had such glowing, happy words about the CDC is from another political party. So there's a little politicking going on. So I don't really believe that the CDC is bowing down to any external pressure. And so I don't know that all the threats and the hyperbole and all that stuff really meant much. Again, at the same time, I don't really care about the politics. I just want a path to get cruising again. And so if it's by, you know, catching flies with honey opposed to vinegar, do it. That's what whatever it takes. And so,
as long as it goes the right way, I feel like that's the main thing. Apparently you cannot have kids that age. Either that means that I look older than I am, or, you know, I have a lot of comments that say I look like I'm in my 40s. I'm 27.
Our oldest, so we have kids older than you. So our oldest daughter will turn 30 in December. We'll have our first 30-year-old.
30.
That's
I'm
right.
heading towards 30. But if I was over 30, I would be in the higher up vaccine group, because John is 30 and he's in group 12, and I'm in group 13 of group 13. So is
Jono going to go travel without you? Like he'll be?
I don't think so. I would be so. Can you imagine? I'd be so annoyed. I think no.
Well,
I hope not.
This first cruise that I'm going on without Jenny, it was a big conversation, and I really do hate to not go on a cruise with Jenny. And so if it wasn't the very first thing and we didn't know what was going to happen, we've got other things going on, but yeah, it's a little weird to make that. When I went, you know, I had a great time in Asia with Don, but it was weird to be there without Jenny. So it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I suppose with this one for you, it is more businessy rather than, you know, this is you need to go on this cruise.
I want to be first, like, you know, that's, you know, I just want to be a part of I've been so invested in the cruise life. I want to be part of the restart as soon as possible. So
no one can believe you have a 30-year-old.
I'll be 50 in August. All right. So I'm 49 and a half. Yeah. Sometimes we start young here. That's the way it works.
I can't. We're almost an hour through our chat again, Tony.
Goes quick.
Thing that you have not said that you would really like to say in the next 4 minutes?
You know, look, I'm just going to keep beating the same drum. Look, stay positive. There's going to be some obstacles when we go to restart cruising. Please try to be supportive. Like if it turns out that it's not cruising that you want right now, I think it will be cruising that you want at some point. And while I appreciate that everybody, you know, can, you know, raise up their voice, now's the time for all of us to come together as a community and try to get cruising restarted and be supportive. And so stay optimistic and be happy. If the UK cruises for 6 months before the US does, we've got to celebrate that. And hopefully we'll get it, because you know, cruising is a global thing. And so just stay positive and keep, you know, and just much love, much appreciation for everybody that's in that cruise life, watching the content every day across all the channels. I know we appreciate it. And so, yeah, I guess that's it. Just stay vigilant and keep watching the content.
I feel like as we've all gone through this last year together in the cruise, it's really shown the diehard cruisers who are booking this week ready to go on these cruises. And I think it brought us all closer together. I mean, it has attracted a lot of anti-cruise people, but we're always going to find them on the internet, so that's fine. But I feel in the last year a lot closer to I know I've taken the time, I guess, this year to get to know everybody a lot better, because we can, which has been really and I've done all these live streams. I never did live streams before this last year, and it's been really good. And now if I want to, I did the other week, I thought I want to do a live stream. So I just did one, and it was really, really good. I just did a bonus one, which was really fun. Loads of people who say, thank you for a great live. You are very welcome, Sean. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh my goodness. I'm overwhelmed with comments and lovely messages. Thank you so much, everybody in the chat. Apologies, I can't answer all of your questions, because I think we would be here forever and ever and ever. I do go back through all the comments. I try and reply to all of my YouTube comments as much as I can. It is tricky sometimes.
Very tricky.
To Todd, who has put visit after the live, EmmaCruises.com. EmmaCruises.com is always a great place to start. If you have any questions, just Google something, and I probably have written about it at some point. And definitely, I'm going to be watching Tony's latest news update after this video, because without them, I don't know where I would. I don't know. Without you and Don, I would be. I don't even know. I'd be confused. I think I see all of the news, and then you guys explain it to me. And Todd just put here your channel as well. So
yeah, I was gonna say we try our best, you know, and you know, there's always a lot of information coming. Again, today I talk about you know, why this announcement yesterday could be different than what we've heard in the past. I've already seen in some of the comments in the community like, oh, this is more just the same. But I do think there's some key reasons why this announcement's different. So I would encourage everybody to go check that out. And you hit it on the head. Like, the cool thing about this community is we all kind of get together and process what's going on together. And I really like the aspect of many voices kind of, you know, tell the story. And so, you know, we watch what you do, and it's really cool that way. And I'm very excited to be a part of it.
I mean, it's so handy for me that you know, if I need to know something about Australia, I'll ask my friend Chris, who's got an Australian YouTube cruise channel. Or if I need to know something about the CDC, I ask you. Or, you know, something about Alaska, I'll ask Don. There's pretty much somebody for everything, which is so good. And I'm just feeling optimistic. It's nice to be, you know, I actually think it might happen this time.
We're booked. We're booked. It's happening.
I know.
70 something days for me. I'm excited.
Yeah. So nearly knocking down my microphone here. I have been filming today a video about the MSC cruise that I've booked and how I feel about the fact that not everybody's going to have vaccines on there, where I'm going, when I'm going, all of that stuff. I think it will probably be out tomorrow, depending on how fast I edit this thing. So everybody, please check that out. I would really appreciate it. Things have been really exciting on my channel recently. And if you're a new person, thank you so much for joining me. It's been really good. I think we need to head off now. I'm going to go and have my dinner. But thank you so much, Tony, for joining me. And
thanks for having me, and thanks everybody for tuning in.
Here is a better link, says Todd, to Tony's channel. If you're not already subscribed to Tony, I don't know why you would not be, but please make sure you do. Thank you to Kitty for our last super sticker, and everybody says, oh, even Jenny loves me. Thank you, Jenny. That one. Okay, right. Let's go, or we'll never ever go. So goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for my last super chat at the last second. I'll be back next week by myself next week. So watch Tony's news next, and we can go and bye, everybody.
We gotta go. We'll see you on the Lido.
Bye.
Bye.